Okay. Hi everyone. Hi. There's Kuromi. Hi. And she will be your teacher today for uh, some pretty interesting topics. Of course, it's just, of course, she won't be. I will be, but she's here for readiness purposes. Okay. So today, I wanted to talk about how um, in general, these videos are gonna be like there will be a general topic, and yeah, I'll try to go in details in what I talk about, and uh, yeah, generally share what my ideas are and all that. So uh, actually, I just need to remember what I meant to talk about today. Um, Probably, yeah. So how how to act with others. This is no, I have a better one. Uh, I'll start with a very uh, like popular topic that I feel like is really misunderstood, and just the way people talk about it, I feel like it's not the best. It's a bit too abstract and too complicated, and I think the answer to it is very simple and very straightforward while being generic enough to apply to pretty much every situation possible. So the topic is the meaning of life. What is the meaning of life? You probably heard that question many times before, and there's always these big debates to what uh, what life is, what humans are meant to be, are meant to, why are they, what do they exist on Earth, and all those. Um, uh, I think that it's important to approach this question more on or a more simple way. So not focus on everything that's all the biological meanings. So why did humans appear on Earth? I don't think that's a very interesting question. Uh, Barely because there's science behind it. So you can just look up the answer, how the humans get to be on Earth and all that. So yeah, I don't think it's just very interesting, um, but more on the uh, psychological aspects of the question. So what are we doing here? What everyone else uh, should be their goal with their life, and it's also I've heard that a couple of times. People sometimes just don't want to give a question to it because they feel like it's too no, because the answer they had in mind is too specific, and yeah, saying literally what to do uh, is impossible in the sense that I can tell what I want to do, what is my meaning of life, but not with everyone else's is. And because they try to find um, a very specific answer, yeah, they can't. Obviously, they're not omniscient. Don't have infinite knowledge, so they can't do that with everyone. And they think, okay, uh, just I feel like so many people have so different hobbies and things they like, and people are just so different in general that I cannot give an answer. Yeah, their mistake is trying to find a specific answer. The answer is actually very generic and very simple, while not being too simple and too generic. Because one answer that people give that is generic and simple, but is too generic and too simple, is um, like find happiness, right? And it's while it is true in part, it's not something wrong. Absolutely, it doesn't explain a lot of things, and it just leaves too many exceptions and too many things that aren't actually don't actually answer the main question. So it is true, but it's too way too generic and way too simple. So the answer you should be looking for is more detailed, but still very simple, very generic. By the way, I don't have a script or anything. I'm just going off of my ideas, so I'm gonna go. So yeah, often. So sorry for that, but it's the best way I can do this. Honestly, uh, it would turn out way better because this is a dialogue, right? I'm having a dialogue. If I read off some words, it's not a dialogue. It's me reading, which I feel like also conveys the message in a worse way. So yeah, I feel like this is the best choice for this. So what's the answer? Sorry for uh, going around the answer here, but the answer is the meaning of life is doing whatever you feel like as a human in today's society. So the last part is actually um, very small in some way. Uh, Despite making half of the definition is pretty small, but I feel like it's very important because we have to keep in mind again, we're not omniscient, we're not deities, we're not gods, so we can do truly 100% whatever we want, right? And this means you can't fly, you can go to another planet. No, you can't do that. You have to eat, you have to drink, you have to do your time in the bathroom and all that to survive. So no, you can do truly 100% whatever you want. But the rest of the definition, doing whatever you want, actually, the way I'll explain later, actually fits basically every possibility any human could ever have. So also as humans in today's society, so of course we have our human needs, and by society I mean uh, we probably have to do things like working, and this part I feel like is very boring, but you know it is what it is. You're going to have to work some in many cases to actually survive, you know, and the other part of the today's society is morals, which I like a lot more. You can do truly what you want. You can do only what morals allow you to do. So, and here there is a very important definition to give. Uh, the only way this definition can work is if morals are something that is practically universal and basically truths for everyone. Now you're gonna say no, that's not possible. That's not how it is. We probably just have different definition of morals. For example, you might say, "Oh, but in that culture, eating something or doing something is wrong, and you can do it, but in my culture, it's not." So how do we solve that? You know, there's not universal. That's not a truth. That's different. And the reason that is because those aren't morals. Those are basically preferences and opinions, which of course do matter. They are important, whatever. But uh, to me, the only definition that makes sense for morals, if they're objective. They're true for everyone and they are universal. So, uh, and it's also important to say that you can truly believe whatever you want. You know, you can go and say, okay, I think that killing someone innocent is fine. No, you it is important for some things to just say no, you are wrong about something. And morals being, in my definition at least and in my opinion, uh, truths, means that sometimes you're gonna have to say no, that's strictly wrong, that's um, just your preference, that's just your opinion, that cannot be classified as a moral because that's just wrong, just wrong as humans, you know. And it might sound too simple, too easy to say that, but sometimes things are really too simple and too easy, and trying to go around them is just stupid. So no. So yeah, my definition only works if morals are true staples of like, and also the a very important thing, uh, morals should be. I don't really know how to say this, but like you should follow morals. You shouldn't follow morals from others, if that makes sense. So you should want and you should feel the need to follow them. Uh, you shouldn't steal because there's a law that says so. That says so. I think that's very stupid. You should not steal because that's wrong, and you have to recognize that's wrong. And there is no scenario, no at least normal scenario where that's something that you should do. So stealing, killing, hurting other people, you know, all of those. More the list of morals I feel like is pretty. It's decently big, so I won't explain them all here. Um, but yeah, you should absolutely follow them because you want to, not because you're forced to. Because being forced to do stuff never works, and I don't need to want to tell you this, but yeah, rules are broken because they're rules. Uh, you know, in the same way, morals are rules in some sense, but the rules being followed by everyone because everyone wants to follow them. So they're kind of rules that exist because everyone follows them, not because someone decided that they were the rules, if that makes sense. Um, so yeah, now for the part of the definition, you can do whatever you want. Now, and no, not you can do whatever you want. You should do whatever you want. That's your meaning of life. You want to be able to do whatever you want. So uh, while following morals, and while keeping in mind you're a human on Earth in the 21st century, you should try to do whatever you want. And whatever makes you happy. That's why I said earlier that finding happiness is not entirely wrong. It's pretty true. So what does this mean? So let's say that you really love a sport or a hobby or something or a game or whatever. You love painting, you love singing, you love making something, you love there is a particular job that you enjoy and pays for you, so you want to do that. Yes, go for that. Exactly. That's what the meaning of life is about. You should do everything you can to make that your reality, the reality of your life. Um, and obviously, there can be more than one. You can have 10 different hobbies and say, I love all of them. I want to spend my time as much of my time doing that. And you might say, oh, but that's you just said we're not gods. We can decide everything that we can do. We don't live in a society where you don't have to work, you don't have to do anything, you still have to pay the bills and all that. So uh, in this definition, basically everything that you have to do sort of falls under your goal, because you should keep in mind, okay, I want to make books, right? To write books. And I don't even want to make any money from it, right? I just want to write poems and stories and all that. How do I achieve that? you have to keep in mind your necessities. You have to survive, you have to have enough food. So getting a job is part of the goal. Getting a house, paying for food is part of the goal. And of course, that depends on you. That depends. Am I willing to work a harder job, for example, to have more free time for my hobby? That only you can decide that. And if yes, then do so. If no, then don't do so. Choose an easier job and spend less time on your hobby. That's your decision. That's up to your mental maturity to say, okay, I want that. And you can make mistakes. Of course, you can say, oh well, maybe I can handle this job, even if I have so much free time for myself. It's too stressing. It's too stressful, and you can change that. Change that. Nothing is truly permanent as long as you make the right choices or the safe choices, as I can say. So, for example, my goal, and a goal that I feel like a lot of people have, maybe the most common goal in life, the meaning of life, is finding your soulmate, uh, marrying, having kids, spending the rest of your life with them, right? Uh, and how do I achieve that? I have to, of course, find the person. Obviously, I have to uh, pay for them and for my kids. So I have to get a job and work. Maybe I'll have to study. Maybe I'll have to go to uni and get a degree and all that. So it's up to me to decide how much is that worth to me. And to me, it's very worth it. So I will work towards that. I will make sure that I do everything I can to reach that goal because that's my meaning of life. And of course, there are other things. I like other things, and they will fill some of my time. But that's my goal. That's my main goal. So I will do whatever I can for that. And something very important also, not every one of your goals will be achievable because we're humans once again. So let's say you're not your goal is to be incredibly rich and afford everything so you can live a life of laziness, you can say that. That realistically probably won't happen, right? Taking the average of every single situation of every human, you're probably not going to be incredibly rich, right? You can do other things in the meantime. You can set other smaller goals or even as big goals, but uh, and this is also something I feel like it's very important. You absolutely should have smaller goals, smaller things to do while your main goal gets to develop. Because realistically, and my goal is an example of that, uh, you can truly decide whether you achieve your goal or not. You can fully decide that. I can work for it, but there's luck. There's chance involved. So maybe your dream is to live in a foreign country. Do you have the capabilities of doing that right now? No, so you can't achieve your goal, right? In the meantime, you can work towards it. Of course, you can earn money to try uh, to move out and all of that. But doing only that, no, you're not gonna do it realistically. So you need to have other things to do, and that's where a lot of hobbies come in. That's where hanging out with friends and other people or your lover or your family. That's where those things are really helpful. So don't feel bad to like take your time for yourself to chase those tiny goals and basically living a mini version of your dream life, or of where you achieve the meaning of your life. If uh, overall of course you're following morals, obviously you are being kind and all of that, and you're not causing any harm to anyone, obviously. As long as you keep those things in mind, you can do whatever you want. So don't feel bad about earning less than someone else because they work more and they end up let's say getting paid more, and you instead work less and spend time playing video games, right? That's not shameful. No, that's not, because that's what you want. And if the other person is being smart, they will want that. They will want to work more to have more money. And that's good. You're both doing whatever you want. If the other person is not smart, they will work more for no reason, basically. There is a reason, of course, but no reason for them. They're just working for purposes outside meanings that they don't matter, right? Because they get tired more when you do something that doesn't make any sense with your goal. And that's why it's important, I said, to keep in mind those some things are gonna be forced on you. You're gonna have to work and you're gonna have to eat and all of that. So those should also be part of the goal, because if you die, obviously you don't achieve your goal, right? So surviving is a method, a way to get to your goal, which is very obviously simple, way too simple, but it's important to remember. Um, and so they work more, and they don't enjoy. Uh, they do obviously the bare minimum they're supposed to do, bare minimum. So the thing is to survive and to obviously live a decent life. I don't need to explain this. You're gonna get it. Obviously, you don't need to arrive at the end of the month with zero uh, euros left. That's not what that means. It means being able to live decently, and I don't need to explain even what that means. It's irrelevant with what I'm saying. So it works enough for that, and then it works even more. And what's the person doing with all the extra money if not following their goal? Because their goal maybe I'm a collector of something. I collect Legos on for trading cards or all of that, and I spend money on that, and that's a goal. That's a reasonable goal in life. That's a reasonable thing to love and to go for it and to work more to afford it, if that's what you want. But if they're not doing that, then what are they spending the money on? They're saving it. Saving it for what? Do they have a goal for their savings or not? If the answer to all those is no, so basically they have no real use for their money yet, they haven't found it, or just they're sitting there, what are they uh, what are they working for? They're working for basically no reason. They're getting more tired for no reason. And so don't be ashamed to follow what you love while being obviously responsible, and keeping in mind you're a human and all of that. So so the definition: do try to do whatever you want as a human in today's society. Yes. So I'm not sure if there's more to talk about. Of course there is, but you know, there are more specific things that uh, I feel like only apply to your case or my case specifically. So and yeah, that's why I came up with this definition, because you think about it and you say, okay, every single possible scenario for anyone is does apply in this definition, right? Because if your goal is to get incredibly rich and exploit people and get even more rich, then you're not following morals, right? And I don't care what anyone says. That's not morally correct, right? So so it technically falls in this definition because your goal is not morally correct. So no, that's not a meaning of life. You're not doing something right. Your goal is not right, and sometimes it's okay to say that if the goal violates these sorts of rules, then yeah, some goals are definitely going to be unviable and wrong and strictly wrong. Um, but if they follow those rules, then you're good. You can do whatever you want, and I feel like this is so helpful for like a lot of the people say, "What am I doing with my life? What's the meaning? Why do I exist?" And there is no external reason why you exist, and I don't. This is not like a bad way. Like you exist because, of course, there's the logical reason because the people before you had children and all of that. But that's not important. You exist to do what you want, to survive as a human, and to do what you want. And despite this being a little bit of a bad thing, it's also important to say maybe someone is not willing to do that, right? Maybe they're in a position where just even um, surviving as a human is just too difficult or too much for them, and they don't have any goal to soften it up, you know? Because if you are happy in your time, you can take working and you can take studying a lot better, and that's true. If you don't have that and you're in a bad mental situation, you just can. It's possible that you're not able to take it at all, and not being able to take it, and if you say committing, you know what I'm talking about, is not like uh let's say it doesn't it still fits in the definition, right? It's obviously bad. I'm not gonna say it's good. Uh, anyone anyone with a brain will say that it's bad. You shouldn't try to take away life out of meaning of life, that's bad. But in the end, that's what, you know do whatever you want that makes you happy, right? And if that's the only thing that makes you happy, then it's still okay for this idea, for this definition. And so what I'm getting to this is that's bad, that's horrible, don't do it. If you see someone that might be doing it, stop them, try to stop and make them have other goals, make them have other things and make them happy, because uh, committing is the worst possible source of happiness, if that makes sense. Uh, Try to find anything else, obviously, of course. Help them, please, all that. But, um, well, like, I'm not really sure where I'm getting to, where, you know, I have the concept in mind, but I'm not really sure how to say it. Just, keep in mind that is a possibility, right? Because uh, in this definition, there is no moment where you don't have anything you like to do, right? Try to do what you love while keeping in mind you're a human in today's society, 21st century, right? There is nowhere that it says you um, you know, you can not have things. No, wait. It basically says you need to have things to do, right? So if you don't, basically the life part of the definition goes away, right? And it, it still fits, of course, with the definition. I don't want to be a nerd talking about definitions, so all that are actually, that's boring, but it still fits. And my point today was to prove that was to solve the question, what is the meaning of life? If there's no meaning, there's no life, which is very simple and it's very easy, but it's true, at least in my opinion. And yeah, try to find your meanings. Absolutely, anything can be a meaning as long as it follows all the morals and all the rules of being a human. But do that. There is no shame in uh, you know giving up things, giving up money for things you love. There is no shame in that, because you're doing what you love, and keeping in mind all the responsibilities you have of the future, of caring for the future and being prepared and all of that. Once those are done, yeah, just do whatever you want. And uh, and I feel like this, I don't know, this is really simple. Obviously, this does not take uh, a 250 IQ genius to come up with, right? I'm not that. And so why don't people just come up with it, right? Of course, the main reason is that they try to find a complex solution, a very difficult solution. And difficult solutions are difficult to find. Surprise, surprise. So they don't find it, obviously. They almost never find it, because they never go look at a simple solution. And even if they do, and I'm thinking, well, uh, a lot of you will say, will have said, as soon as I said the definition, you will have said, but that's too simple. That's too, of course, that's too basic. And it's so surprising. If you think about it, if you right now start to think about literally anything, any topic ever, how often simple things are just true and are just the best. Simple answers are the best answers. And uh, in the end, yeah, simple things in almost anything are the ones that truly end up being the best, you know? So that's why people don't find them, because they don't think simple solutions are good or anything. They think they need to find a hard solution, like loving her. Loving her for your life is not, it's not too simple. It's not too stupid. It's not too basic. If you love her, spend your time, spend your money for her. And there's no shame in that. There's nothing wrong with that. You love something, go for it. Work for it. Use your resources, your limited time, your limited amount of money for this, because uh, because that's what you will love and that's what you want. And don't let anybody tell you, no, that's wrong, that's stupid, that's dumb. No, it's dumb for them. There's a really good chance that their way of spending money and time is dumb for you, and that's okay. And all of solutions, also those types of solutions, kind of opinions, because hobbies are sort of opinions. What you like is an opinion. Are going to seem dumb in some way to everyone else, and everyone else's opinions will sound dumb to you. And that's okay. That's why people always say everyone is different, because everyone is different in their own passions, in their own personality, in their own likings, in what they love. Um, Therefore, go for it. Absolutely, love her or love whatever you love, and work for it. And keep in mind that, if if that's what you want to make the meaning of your life, then sure. Because people always say, you only have one life. You only have this chance. You only live your teen years once. You only live your 20s once. Yes. And they say that to say, okay, be careful to what you choose. And while that's true, you of course need to, give thought to what you choose. Um, don't be too thoughtful. It's not that it doesn't matter that much, you know, uh, because life in some sense doesn't. A lot of things about life don't matter that much, like the time you uh, spend it however you like. It only matters when you don't spend it. You spend it with something that you hate, that you don't like. Don't do that. Spend it with something you like. Spend it with uh, things that you need, of course, but the things that you need will lead to the things that you like. So it's basically a win-win, sort of, because you get to survive and you get to what you love. So uh, yeah, that's basically what I wanted to talk about today. How this question is very often said is too complex, too hard. Let's have a 3-hour debate to what meaning of life is. And also the mistake they make is they talk about personal. It's impossible to have a personal definition, obviously, because my idea is different than yours, very likely. So having a debate about opinions is just so stupid. Imagine a debate where you say, no, I like chocolate ice cream more. No, I like strawberry more, and keep going for hours. That's practically what meaning of life debates are most of the times. And if they were about finding a unified answer, uh, they will be easy. They will be quick because the definition is not hard. It doesn't take a genius to get to it, and it's just so good of a definition that it works always. It always works. So yeah, that's it. Bye bye from kuromi. Uh, you know what I wanted to say. Yeah, basically for being your teacher, she's very, of course, she's very knowledgeable. She is the genius here. She whispered to me the answer, so she came up with. I didn't. So thank her, and have a good day and bye bye.